The text came at 3:17 a.m., lighting up my phone screen in the darkness of my bedroom. Honey, we need to talk about Thanksgiving. Your sister Madison has planned everything perfectly, and she thinks it's best if you don't come. We know you helped with the house. But this is about family harmony. My name is Olivia Parker, and at 32, I had just received the most callous message imaginable from the parents whose house I'd saved from foreclosure 3 months ago. I stared at the screen, my hands trembling slightly as another message popped up. Madison says your presence might make things uncomfortable. She's invited some important people from her new job. Please understand. Of course Madison had said that. My younger sister had always been the family favorite, the golden child who could do no wrong. Even when she dropped out of college to find herself or maxed out our parents' credit cards on shopping sprees, they always defended her choices. Meanwhile, I'd built a successful career in finance, lived modestly, and saved every penny I could. When our parents faced foreclosure due to Madison's reckless spending and their own poor financial decisions, I was the one who stepped in. I emptied my savings account and sold my investment property to give them $400,000 to save their home. We'll pay you back, they promised tearfully when I handed them the check. You are our guardian angel, Olivia. Now 3 months later, I was being uninvited from Thanksgiving dinner in my own childhood home. The home I'd saved, because Madison didn't want me there. Another text buzzed through. Madison has planned a sophisticated gathering. She's really grown into such an elegant hostess. We don't want any tension. Tension. That's what they called it when I questioned Madison's behavior or suggested she take responsibility for her actions. When I mentioned the money she still owed me from borrowing my credit card last year, I was creating tension. When I refused to co-sign her car loan after she defaulted on 3 others, I was being difficult. I got out of bed and walked to my home office, pulling out the folder containing all the paperwork from the house payment. Inside was something my parents and Madison didn't know about, a legal agreement my lawyer had insisted I get them to sign when I saved the house. They'd been so relieved to get the money, they'd barely read it before signing. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Madison herself. Hey sis, hope you understand about Thanksgiving. My boss and his wife are coming and I really need to make a good impression. You can be so intense sometimes. But we can totally do lunch next week. Intense. Because I'd suggested at our last family dinner that maybe she should start paying our parents' rent instead of spending her salary on designer bags. Because I'd mentioned that her 3rd career change in 2 years might not be the best timing for buying a new luxury car. I sat at my desk, opened my laptop, and typed out a simple response to our family group chat. Ok. Then I called my lawyer. Mark? Sorry to wake you, but I need you to start the proceedings we discussed. Yes, the house situation. No, I don't want to wait until after the holidays. I could almost hear Madison's voice in my head, calling me dramatic, telling our parents I was just jealous of her success. But I wasn't being dramatic. I was finally standing up for myself. After hanging up with Mark, I opened my email and clicked on a folder labeled Evidence. Inside were screenshots of text messages, bank statements, and photos I'd been collecting for months. Madison using our parents' home equity to fund her business ventures, the transfers from their retirement account to cover her temporary cash flow issues, the credit card statements showing her extravagant spending while our parents struggled to pay their property taxes. My phone lit up again with another message from Mom. Please don't be upset, sweetie. You know how important this is for Madison's career. She's finally finding her path. We can celebrate with you another time. I thought about all the another times over the years, the family vacations I wasn't invited to because Madison needed quality time with Mom and Dad, the holidays where my achievements were glossed over in favor of Madison's latest plans, the countless times I've been asked to step aside, stay quiet, or simply not show up because Madison needed the spotlight. But this time was different. This time, I had something they didn't know about, something that would make them realize that actions and choices have consequences. I picked up my phone one last time and typed out a message to my lawyer. Send the papers first thing in the morning. And Mark, make sure they're delivered during Madison's perfect Thanksgiving dinner. Then I booked a ticket to the Maldives. I'd always wanted to see the ocean at sunrise, and now seemed like the perfect time to start putting myself first. Let Madison have her sophisticated Thanksgiving. I had a feeling it wouldn't turn out quite the way she planned. The morning of Thanksgiving arrived with a flurry of angry messages on my phone. I was already at the airport, sipping a latte in the first-class lounge when they started pouring in. What is this legal notice? Call us immediately. Dad, you can't do this to us. This is our home. Mom. OMG, you're such a psycho. You're ruining everything. Madison, I smiled, remembering the document they'd so carelessly signed 3 months ago. The one that clearly stated they had 6 months to either buy the house from me at market value or begin paying rent at the current market rate. The notice being delivered today was just a formal reminder of those terms, with an additional clause they'd agreed to. Any failure to meet these conditions would result in immediate eviction proceedings. My phone rang. It was Madison. My boss and his wife are going to be here in 4 hours. How could you do this to me? Mom is crying, and Dad is having a meltdown. Madison, I replied calmly, I'm surprised you're concerned about the house. After all, you told everyone at last month's family dinner that you were about to close a huge deal that would make you set for life. That's different. You know how these things take time. Yes, time, like the 3 years you've been living rent-free in our parents' house while I paid their mortgage, or the time you took to max out their credit cards and never paid them back. That's not fair. I was building my brand. I could hear Mom in the background, probably already stress cooking for Madison's sophisticated dinner party. Dad was shouting something about calling their lawyer. The papers are quite clear, I said. You have 2 options, buy the house or pay rent. I've been more than fair with the timeline. We can't afford either. You know that, Madison screeched. Actually, you could if you sold your new Tesla, designer bags, and that vacation home you're timesharing in Aspen. The one you bought while our parents were facing foreclosure. The line went quiet for a moment. You've always been jealous of me, Madison finally said, her voice low and venomous. Just because Mom and Dad love me more. No, Madison. They don't love you more. They fear you more. They fear your tantrums, your manipulation, your guilt trips. But that stops today. I heard the boarding call for my flight. Listen, I have to go. My flight's boarding. But here's what's going to happen. You have until New Year's to either buy the house or start paying rent. If not, you'll all need to find somewhere else to live. Oh, and Madison, that trust fund you think you're getting from Grandma? You might want to check the terms again. I had a very interesting conversation with her last week. Madison gasped. Our grandmother had always been the only one who saw through her act, and I'd finally told her everything. The stealing, the manipulation, the way Madison had been bleeding our parents dry. You wouldn't. I already did. Goodbye, Madison. Enjoy your sophisticated Thanksgiving. I hung up and turned off my phone, gathering my belongings as they called my row for boarding. As I settled into my first-class seat, I thought about the other documents my lawyer would be delivering tomorrow. The detailed records of Madison's financial abuse of our parents, the evidence of fraud when she used their information to open credit cards, and a statement from their accountant showing exactly how she'd systematically destroyed their retirement savings. Sometimes love means making hard choices. My parents had never been able to say no to Madison, so I was doing it for them. The house wasn't just about money. It was about finally breaking the cycle of enabling that had turned my sister into who she was and my parents into shells of themselves. The flight attendant offered me champagne as the plane prepared for takeoff. I accepted, watching through the window as the city grew smaller below us. My phone, now on airplane mode, showed one last message that had come through. Olivia, honey, please. We can work this out. Your sister needs us. She's just going through a phase. Don't do this to your family. Mom. A phase. That's what they called it for 15 years. But phases end, and this one had gone on long enough. I closed my eyes as the plane lifted into the clouds, imagining Madison trying to explain to her boss why her perfect Thanksgiving dinner had turned into a family crisis. For once, she'd have to face reality instead of crafting another perfectly curated illusion. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is to stop protecting them from the consequences of their own actions. As the plane headed toward the Maldives, I knew I finally done right by my family, even if they couldn't see it yet. The real question was, what would they choose? The house or Madison's lifestyle? Either way, change was coming, whether they were ready or not. 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, I was sitting on my private villa's deck in the Maldives when my grandmother's call came through. You should see the chaos you've left behind, she chuckled. Madison's perfect boss saw everything. The legal papers, her meltdown, everything. She lost that promotion she was bragging about. I sipped my coconut water, watching the sunset paint the ocean in shades of gold. How are Mom and Dad? Finally waking up, I think. Your father found Madison's secret credit card statements, the ones showing she's been taking out cash advances in their names. He's actually angry for the first time I can remember. That was progress. My father had never been angry at Madison before. Disappointed, yes, but never angry. And the house situation. That's actually why I called. Grandma's voice turned serious. They want to meet with you. All of them, Madison included. I think you should come home. I've been expecting this. My 3-week vacation was nearly over anyway. I'll be back tomorrow. Tell them to meet me at my place the day after. And Grandma, thank you for standing with me. Oh, sweetheart, I've been waiting 15 years for someone to finally stand up to Hurricane Madison. When I walked into my apartment 2 days later, they were all already there. Mom looked tired, Dad looked older, and Madison looked different. Gone were the designer clothes and perfect makeup. She sat on my couch in jeans and a simple sweater, her face bare and vulnerable. Before anyone speaks, I said, setting down my keys, I have something to show you. I opened my laptop and pulled up 3 documents, a property listing, a business plan, and a treatment center brochure. These are your options. 1. I found a lovely smaller house within your budget. You can sell most of your current furniture and Madison's luxury items to make the down payment. 2. Dad, remember that small accounting firm you always wanted to start? This is a business plan to make it happen. 3. Madison, this is a financial therapy and addiction treatment center. They have an excellent program for people struggling with compulsive spending and chronic lying. Madison started to protest, but Dad raised his hand, silencing her for the first time I could remember. Let your sister finish. I continued, you can't keep the house unless you meet my terms. But I'm not here to punish you. I'm here to help you rebuild, the right way this time. Mom wiped her eyes. We've been so blind, Olivia. When we found those credit cards Madison had taken out in our names, we could face fraud charges. Our retirement is gone. We've been such fools. I've already spoken to the credit card companies, I said. They won't press charges if Madison enters the treatment program and sets up a repayment plan. Grandma and I will help with the initial costs. Madison stood up, her face crumpling. Why are you helping me, after everything I've done? Because you're my sister. And because beneath all this mess, there's still the Madison who used to draw me pictures and sneak into my bed during thunderstorms. That Madison is worth saving. Dad cleared his throat. We've chosen the smaller house. Your mother and I, we need a fresh start. And Madison. Madison nodded, tears streaming down her face. I'll do the program. I don't want to be this person anymore. Watching my boss's face when he saw those legal papers, seeing how I destroyed our family's security, I finally saw myself through someone else's eyes. It won't be easy, I warned. The treatment center requires complete financial transparency. No phones, no credit cards, no outside money for the first month. I know, she whispered. I'm scared, but I'm more scared of losing my family. Mom stood up and for the first time in years, hugged me without any reservations or hidden agenda. We don't deserve you, Olivia. This isn't about deserving, I said. It's about healing. Over the next hour, we worked out the details. Dad would start his accounting firm with a small loan from me, properly documented this time. Mom would sell her designer collection to help with the new house's down payment. Madison would enter treatment next week. As they prepared to leave, Madison hung back. That trust fund, did Grandma really change it? No, I admitted. But you needed to believe she had to understand what you stood to lose. The money will be there when you're ready, after treatment, after making amends. She nodded, then hugged me awkwardly. I really am sorry, for everything, especially Thanksgiving. I know, now prove it by doing the work. After they left, I stood at my window, watching them drive away. My phone buzzed with a text from Grandma. Proud of you, sweetheart. Sometimes the biggest act of love is saying no. I smiled, thinking of my peaceful Maldives sunrise. Sometimes you have to travel far away to see things clearly at home. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's giving people the chance to become better versions of themselves, even if that chance comes wrapped in legal papers delivered on Thanksgiving Day.